Hey everyone, good day. Oh, my cat is coming around the corner. Go on. There we go. All right. It is a cozy day. It's one of those hoodie and short days. So it's a good day. I just felt called to come on and do a collective reading for the whole. I am getting a strong feeling that it is going to signify the next step in a lot of our phases. We've kind of completed this phase of shedding things that don't serve us. We just cleared a huge phase of moving on, starting to see a little bit of the rewards of all of the work that we've been doing, all of the manifestation, all the positive affirmations. They say good things take time, and they do, and we're in the world of instant gratification, instant satisfaction, that oftentimes if we don't immediately see it in the next day or so, we end up feeling discouraged. But I encourage you right now to take a moment and think where you were 6 months ago, where you wanted to be. Are you there? How close are you to being there? Those types of things. And if you don't even recognize, if you're a journal keeper, take a look back in your journals. It's astonishing to see how far we've really come, because oftentimes we're in the middle of the struggle that we don't realize the reflection looking back how far we've actually come. So that being said, I'm getting a strong feeling that this reading is kind of a mark to go forward. So I'm just doing the collective reading. I'm not pulling any individual questions right now. However, if you do want a personal reading, feel free to click the link in my bio, purchase and book a session, and we can definitely get that situated for you in the upcoming little bits. Very shortly. So I don't have any Wi-Fi right now, and service is not the best here, so I'm very fortunate I found a spot for this live. So if it starts acting up, let me know. But I should be getting Wi-Fi here in the next couple of days, and that will definitely allow the progression of the launch of a couple items. I'm going to be having customized affirmations available for purchase, so if you would like custom affirmations for whatever situation you're going through, I'm going to be offering those. Also spirit talks. So in the spirit talks, you can ask multiple questions of the cards and kind of have an unlimited read. It's more of just in chunk of time. You can also vent. I am not a therapist, nor do I claim to be, but it just allows those that don't have a confidential place, that just need someone to be there to listen to them. And if that segues into leading to asking questions of the cards and asking of advice, like things on how to access your mediumship more or tap into your psychic abilities and beginner, things like that, I can definitely answer those. So those will be there. Recipes will get started. I have a glorious little kitchen behind me, and I'm very, very, very excited to get to recipes. So all of those being set and put aside, let's go ahead and pull the cards. All right. So we have 4 cards here before us today. So first we have Find a Mentor upright. We have Self-Acceptance reverse. HeartMind Balance reversed. And Psychic Conversations upright. So looking at this from a perspective of moving forward and from where we just were. So we just shed a lot of things that do not serve us. We let go a lot of negative baggage, and the positive side to that is that allows for a lot of positivity to enter and fill in those cracks. So now is a phenomenal time to manifest more, manifest greatness. If you just achieve your first level of everything that you had been manifesting, now's the time to go bigger. Now's the time to go better, grander, higher up, another level. You've reached that status to be able to do that. You are no longer a beginner. You are now a novice in this situation. You are working your way to your mastery through your journey. You are much further along than you want to recognize, because some part of a lot of us deep inside don't want to recognize how far we've come, because we're still in that mentality that if we are close enough to where we started, then we are able to retreat back. We are able to return to where we once were. But to be frank, most of us have progressed far past the point of return. It would be far more effort to backtrack than to continue forward and grasp what you need, what you want, what you desire. So now would be a good time if you see the mentor that you've been desiring ahead of you, whether that's even yourself. Do not forget that your higher self is oftentimes your biggest mentor. Taking time within yourself to understand who you were, where you want to be, and where you are now. Look at the differences between all three. So definitely take time. Most of us have gone this far without some sort of mentor. We've done it this far with just ourselves, with just books, with self-reflection, understanding what we like about ourselves and what we don't like, what we want to gravitate towards. So don't forget that you are yourself, first and foremost, a mentor, your higher self. Look to your counsel, to your guards. They are always with you. They are readily available to chit-chat with you. You just have to literally turn your radio frequency to the frequency in which spirits are on. But they are constantly there. They are constantly able to communicate with you and chat with you and talk with you. If you're facing a certain dilemma, think about who you look up to in terms of deities, rule, that certain aspect, whether it be, you're having trouble with a little self-love, so you call on Frey, or with wisdom, so you call on Odin, whatever it may be. Whoever you are drawn to, whoever you are particular with, ask them what's up. Be like, hey, how can my vessel progress further? But always remember, first and foremost, that your highest self has a lot of answers. You designed this reality before you came in. This is your maze, your puzzle piece. So I encourage you to look first and foremost to yourself for the answers, because you may have more answers within yourself than you may believe. And that has to go hand in hand with the self-acceptance reverse. I'm getting this in a dual meaning. So in the sense of internal acceptance, there's a part that's like, yay, we've progressed forward a bit. You are believing the authority that you hold. You believe progressing forward. You believe in the reality that you're creating. You walk your talk now. You're not just talk. You're not crawling as you talk. You are walking your walk, and you're making your way towards running into believing yourself to be able to walk blindly and give just based solely off of intuition and knowing your truth of who you are. So that's what we get with this upside down. It's upside down in the terms of we aren't fully there. It's also reversed in terms of internally the progress that we have achieved. So that duality and that meaning. So in this next step, progressing forward, if you are understanding your way and that you are your own mentor, your own master. And also it does help, if you do end up finding and meeting someone, a lot of people will end up meeting external mentors that will physically help them find the mentor within, because a lot of us just don't even know how to do that, and we need someone that's a bit more experienced. We've moved from, like I said, beginner to kind of an intermediate novice situation. That's where we're at. So a little boost forward always helps, but at the same time, we've gone pretty far on our own. We're able to gain our knowledge. Our backpacks are getting a little bit more full with supplies and tools and knowledge of how to use tools and use them in multiple various different ways instead of just one go ahead with it. You know, it's far more valuable if you take time and know how to use your tools in multiple different ways, and when to use it, when not to use it. How can you incorporate it with other tools you had to create an entirely new tool? Those are the type of things. So remember what you have in your back pocket. Remember what you've gained and how can you expand on that. Every trial right now, there's not even errors, they're not even failures right now. Everything is knowledge. Everything is gaining from here forward. Everything from the past, you have gained everything. You have gained knowledge, you've gained tools, you've gained knowing who is worth it, who is not worth it, who deserves your time. You now know how to progress forward in yourself. So that being said, going forward with Heart and Mind Balance right here, this is also in reverse. A lot of you, I'm getting a feeling that a lot of people still do not want to shed this last little bit. There's still a little bit that's clinging on to us. Of course, as we shift, we're finishing up with one to progress into another. But I encourage you, I strongly encourage you to take a look at all of the relationships around you. What is serving you? What is not serving you? And why? Does it come from needing to learn another lesson? Does it come from being scared to speak your truth? Does it come from you not believing in yourself a little bit? That last little string of doubt, that you're not opening up, that you're not speaking your mind, that you're not allowing yourself to be authentic externally and internally to who you want to be. Different things like that. So keep in mind, find different things that make you happy. So this card was being in reverse. We're going to look at it upright just in terms of reflecting on it. So if you want to look, the figure 8, right? It passes between the mind and the heart, and through that is your throat. So if either one of these are off balance, you're going to have trouble expressing yourself. And with many of us going forward, we're doing different types of acts that involve needing our throat chakra to be open and out and forward, whether that be we are healers and we need to open up and wake up to it and touch the masses, get our message of whatever is in our head. Because so many of us, I know this, they're screaming at me that so many of you have things in your head that you are not actively expressing, whether on paper or outwardly. There are so many ideas that are formulating in your head that are not by accident. These are either from your higher self or from your higher counsel. All of these messages that you have been receiving in your brain, and I encourage you to take a moment to look at those. Truly look at those and see where the pieces fit. Hi! Thank you for popping in. So, everything is not by accident. Everything happens for a reason, a divine purpose, a divine reason. Whether it is you go to a situation and are, go to a situation. Whether it is you go to a store or you go to a job or I don't know, you go out of the country to travel, who knows? Whoever you meet, everything that you come into contact with has a higher purpose. Ask yourself, why am I meeting this individual? What can I grasp from them? Is it learning how to handle certain situations? Is it being put back into situations that used to be triggering to teach you that you have progressed further than that? Is it to align you to another step further? Maybe that exact person isn't the piece that you need in your puzzle. Maybe that person will then help you to meet the next person onto your journey, or they'll help you learn something about yourself in order to learn something else, Like I recently, I had a job, and this was months ago. Something about the job, I loved it, but at the same time, slowly things about it started to fall apart. It wasn't the ideal job that I thought it was. But one thing that I took away, that I grasped from it, is that this job truly showed me that I want to be a holistic nutritionist. It showed me my passion for it. the intuitive nature that I have for grasping things together, for piecing together what is good for certain ailments and different things like that. It showed me where I'm supposed to go next and progress to next. And although that particular job, the way that it ended, wasn't the best, maybe it was, a nasty situation, this, that, and the next, I was able to take away from it that, wait, I now know what my next step is. I now know I want to open my own business. I now know I need to go back to school and gain this knowledge and do this. So nothing is ever out of vain. And when you open yourself up and your throat chakra is open to expressing what you want without remorse, without questioning who's going to leave. Fuck if they leave. Let them. Let them. They're showing you that they need the door, that they don't love you unconditionally, that there are terms with things, and that's okay. That is entirely okay. I do want to reiterate that. Like, if someone needs to be shown the door, let them out and know that it's okay for them to go. Know that they will be okay, know that you will be okay, and that's just part of the journey that you guys are at. That's just exactly what needs to happen to progress forward on both of your guys' levels, You never know what could be opening up for either of you on the other end, but is not being received because you guys are holding that space in each other's lives, that whatever you guys want, it can't come in because you're there, So I encourage you to take a reflection with all the different relationships in your life. If anything is still no longer serving you, if things are still making you feel weird, take a look at it. If you can do something about it, if you can change it, I encourage you to do so. If you are unable to do something, then, Ajna always says there's no problem you can't solve, and if you can't solve it, it's not your fucking problem. And the more that I personally looked at that statement and implemented that more in my life, the more I realized how much I was being affected by other people's energies. And I know many of you also feel that same way, that all of these different problems or situations that everyone else is going through, we insert ourselves in those situations thinking we're a part of it, even though we're not. We were just sucked in to hold space for someone else, to help them through something, although they don't even want help. There is a difference between someone genuinely reaching out for help and someone just reaching out for company during the misery. I would really like to remind you guys that there are people who will genuinely reach out to you because they want company in their own misery. They will not actually do any of the work that you will try to put in. Like, as healers, as intuitives, as highly sensitive beings, we want to often help people. But we have to also recognize that unless someone wants the help, unless someone actually desires to do it, that they will not. And there is, statistically, in terms of recovery, there is a point in time when someone will vocally, continuously say that they want something, but will not follow through and act on it. And it is not your fault. Basically, don't take responsibility for that. Don't blame yourself for someone not wanting to progress. It is not your fault. You could run circles around someone, exhausting yourself, putting all of your energy and resource to try to help them up, but if they want to fall, they're going to continue to fall. So I want to remind all of you guys to recognize who just wants company in misery, because you don't need that. You're trying to progress forward, Be that mentor within yourself to recognize that, to see when someone is doing something, to see when relationships are going in that direction. They also want you guys to practice your psychic abilities. So this goes hand in hand with the final card. We do have psychic conversations as the final card. These two are going hand in hand. They want the collective to start getting serious about the psychic work, basically, about all of our abilities. A lot of us are far more powerful than we understand. Everyone has the ability to be intuitive. Everyone has the ability to have some sort of empathy when it comes to others and understanding where they stand. Everyone has that ability, although there are others who specifically came into this life as advanced souls in the spirit realm solely to serve as a bridge between the two, to share the message, to connect and understand. So the veil has been very thin lately. We have spoke about this a couple of times in a couple different readings about how thin the veil has been, and this will continue to progress. Honestly, the thought has crossed through my mind wondering what Halloween's going to be like, because I have a feeling that the thinning of the veil will not be stopping anytime soon. It'll slowly just continue to progress until the two meet and we're open and aligned, basically. So if you have not learned your protection tools, whether it be spells, charms, crystals, angels, whatever you so believe in, whatever protects you, guards you, grounds you, hold that close. Learn those, master those, because as the veil is thinning and as we get closer to understanding and mastering our abilities and tapping into our godlike divinities, we're going to need to have those tools close by. Partly just because as we elevate higher, there are things that will be lower than us, that will try to bring us down, just because there are people who get uncomfortable with other people being successful, that they take it as a personal offense when you are being successful, focusing on yourself. You're not caring about them. You're not caring about this, that, and the next. You're not even noticing what they're doing because you're so focused with yourself. But that in itself, all of the changes that you are making to positively progress your life, in turn, it can sometimes cause people to be offended because they think that they're personally being attacked because you're bettering yourself. Because, you've decided to eat plant-based in your life for whatever reason, whether it be health or environmental, animal rights, whatever it is, someone will be offended that you have gone plant-based because somewhere deep down, they're like, well, am I wrong because I'm a meat eater? Instead of taking a moment to reflect and look at their own things, they will try to break you down and make you change because you you make them question their status in life. You make them question what they're doing, where they've been, and how they're doing what they're doing in their life. And a lot of people would rather knock down the messenger, which, again, you're not even trying to deliver a message. You're just freely living your life. But as someone living in a reality that is ruled by judgment and basically the stem of all judgment. Basically, when everyone is living in that reality, they see it as a threat. They see it as, oh, well, I'm doing something wrong in my life. I'm not having it together. I'm not progressing forward. But then they don't want to admit. It's like they could do the work themselves. So I just really, really, really want to remind you guys that there are authentically those people. And as you progress forward, those people will challenge you to take a look at yourself. And you have to be sure of who you are, stand tall in who you are, to be able to be like, that sounds like a you problem. I wasn't caring about shit you were doing with your life. Not to sound mean at all, but in the reality of you are focusing on yourself, you are bettering yourself for yourself, not to make anyone think otherwise. And that's really cool if it does affect people to want to progress forward. It's really cool when someone sees that I'm using plant-based as the most obvious answer. You could use this in the idea of spirituality, manifestation, law of attraction, altering your mindset to be more positive, changing your verbiage, the way that you say things. So maybe you've decided that you don't want to say the word humble anymore because humbling in direct definition means to stay low, to lower your vibration for another being or another situation or what have you. So by you deciding personally that you don't want to use that language in your vocabulary anymore, someone else will be offended by that, by being like, well, I say humble all the time, so you're telling me that I'm cursing myself when I'm cursing everyone else? Well, fuck you. Da-da-da-da. Well, it's like, well, well, that's what I learned. I'm implementing it in my life. You feel threatened, then like that's on you, you know. So keep those tools close with you for protection. Remember who you are. Do not. I encourage you to not let anyone alter who you are, to step in the way of what you want to become, of who you are becoming, because this is very possible. It's very graspable. So, as far as psychic abilities, a lot of you guys have been doing the work, but you're not believing in it. Like, just because it's not like Harry Potter and you don't see it actively in front of you, you're not believing that it's there, but it's there. It's there. It's real. It's raw magic. You are electricity. Your body is electricity. And electricity creates. It is the conductor needed for everything. I encourage you guys to take time out of your day to exercise your abilities. Whether it be practicing automatic writing or meditating or chatting out into space, so to speak. I'm looking at this card because if you look, it's like on a journey. And once you get to that home destination, that's when you reach your ability to be able to freely communicate with spirits back and forth. You're able to read what's on the paper. You see nothing's on the paper in actuality. So imagine once you reach that space, you're allowed to go forward. You're allowed to progress and achieve that sort of mastery. You know, we're chasing it, we're wanting it, but at the same time, we're really scared shitless of what it comes with. Have communication out into the blank space. See what communicates back with you. There's, you know, different things, different tools that you can do. Definitely. And maybe I'll make a blog post about it, because that's a really long video and it's specific, person to person. So yeah, if you want to know a little bit more about how to tap into individual abilities and what might be blocking them, feel free to book me and we can have conversations about that. But it can be anything from the food we're eating to the water we're drinking to the frequencies we allow ourselves to be around, whether it be electronic or mass population of people, our close friends, contracts we set up as children, the religious background we may have been from, and what it may cause us to perceive. You know, Christianity and Catholicism are heavily rooted in not believing in spirits, or that seeing spirits is bad. But at the same time, it's like angels are spirits, you know, they just vibrate at a high frequency. So different things like that. Something I definitely had to come to terms with learning and growing up religious myself. So it's definitely possible. Continue to take time with yourself. Yes. Continue to love on yourself wholeheartedly. Forgive yourself. It's okay if you have to tell yourself 3 to 5 times a day that you love yourself and you forgive yourself and that you're awesome. Just whatever it takes to stick into your mind, do it. It's a daily practice. It's an hourly, momently practice to be able to love yourself and to take that time with yourself and be comfortable. Continue to go with what makes you happy. Speak your mind, speak your heart. Be vocal, be unapologetic about what's on your mind, because it is being delivered for a reason. You have the ability to speak, to translate celestial language into physical language, however it may be, in the form of writing, in the form of pictures, and you're an artist, in the form of words, outwardly, what have you, you are magic, you have the ability for a reason. And this next stage was about purging all of the bad and the negative that would limit you from stepping into that and owning all of those abilities, to be able to now be in a safe space, even if that is yourself, even if that is you and one or two few collective people, few selective, not collective, apologies, a few selective people. It's okay. It's entirely okay, because you will grow, you will be strong. And oftentimes those that are powerful need to be secluded for protection reasons, because their energy is so sacred that it can't be shared with everyone. So they have to be to themselves for a while. So yeah, that being said, our all universal highest council, as well as all of our individual councils, have been congratulating us on our work. We have done a lot. We are tired, a lot of us, but I really, 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 really strongly encourage you all to take a look back at the progress that you have made. Mercury just went direct a couple of days ago. We're still in its shadow, but it's no longer in retrograde. And although that is out, we still have a couple other planets in retrograde. But what a lot of these planets being retrograde reflect, revise, revisit, do that with your life, do that with your mental process, with the way that you interact with the outside world, whatever it may be. Now is the time for that, to progress forward. So yes, thank you for anyone who has listened to the collective reading this long. If you'd like to book a personal one-on-one tarot session, link is in my bio, and new products will be featured soon. I will definitely make an announcement on that. And I should have said this earlier, but this is one of the last times that I'll be doing collective readings on this Instagram. From future reference, lives will be on Total Wellness MBS on Instagram. Link is also in my bio. But yeah, that's the business Instagram, so I'm trying to move more things over there and kind of separate the two. But yeah, I love you guys, I love you all, and I wish you all a beautiful day full of blessings, light, and love.